famiglia è composta da un maschio e 5 femmine, ognuna delle quali riproduce da 1 a 3 animali per cucciolata.
Io faccio il fotografo e quando ho fame vedo tutto bianco e nero.
È nuovo? No, lavato con
रॉबिन फैब्रिक व्हाइटनर, एक सुविधाजनक सैशे में। ये डिटर्जेंट टिकिया, लेकिन आप तो वो हमेशा महंगी वाली टिकिया लेती थी। जब वही महंगे दामों वाली क्वालिटी
वही सफेदी, वही झाग, कम दामों में मिले तो कोई ये क्यों ले? हो ना ले?
मान गए
किसे?
आपकी कार की नजर और निर्मा सुपर दोनों को।
अब निर्मा सुपर, धुलाई का सुपर दाम, दाम फिर भी कम।
Un brevissimo flash meteorologico iniziando dalle temperature di oggi, le temperature minime di questa notte, le minime notturne.
La sensibile diminuzione sul nord Italia con valori di primato del freddo, meno 14 osservate Bolzano, Aosta, meno 11 Torino, meno 10 Cuneo, meno 12 Milano. La diminuzione è stata risentita anche in alcune regioni del sud Italia, a prevalso un aumento sulla Calabria. E adesso direi di passare immediatamente alla teleimmagine del satellite Meteosat sull'Italia, eccola per mostrarvi il gran freddo, il gelo, ma il tutto secco potremmo dire, qualche banco di fuschia sulla pianura padana, ma il cielo sereno, l'arco delle Alpi le va. Poi praticamente dall'altezza di Rimini e verso il sud è tutta la intensa copertura nuvolosa legata a un sistema depressionario estremamente complesso che adesso, prima di mostrarvi il quadro europeo, io desidero darvi lo schema, anche se previsto per domani, è poco diverso da quello qua. Immaginate oggi tutte queste descrizioni ma vi interessa
Hello, hello, hello. Who he is present. What's up, J-Star with the first redeem? Panda, welcome in. How are you doing? We've got the kitty cat on frame. He was underneath my bed and then in my closet, so I'm glad he's chosen to put himself out there for all of us. I don't know how long he's gonna stay there. He is rebelling a little bit about being taken to the vet today, which I guess we'll go into maybe a little bit after the news. But welcome in here. Great to see all y'all joining on us, or joining with us on this Tuesday. All right. Oh, we also had one person join in for Placid Plastic Duck. Sorry, I quit out. I don't know if it was you, Panda. But yeah, we saw one other name, although I might have had that as public. So I'm not sure who that was. Shout out to anyone who did join us, though. But yeah, we're going to jump right into our news, as usual, and get into our fun for the day. So as always, start things off with some NPR. Welcome
This
in,
message comes from NPR sponsor SK Group. SK is committed to creating a better future. Their companies across the U.S. are investing in American manufacturing and creating jobs. For more about SK's commitment to a better future, visit sk.com.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Shay Stevens. Vice President Kamala Harris campaigned in Milwaukee today, focusing most of her remarks on attacking former President Trump. NPR's Deepa Shivaram was traveling with Harris and filed this report.
Harris rallied 3,000 attendees in Milwaukee, an event so large the campaign had to change venues at the last minute.
Because we are a people-powered campaign, that is how you know we will be a people-first presidency.
She said she would make her presidency about the middle class and accused Trump of making promises to oil lobbyists in exchange for campaign donations. Harris will travel to Indianapolis next and then Houston on Thursday as she tries to build momentum for her campaign. Deepa Shivaram, NPR News.
After resisting calls to resign, Kimberly Cheadle has stepped down as director of the Secret Service. Cheadle's announcement earlier today came less than 24 hours after a congressional panel grilled her on the security lapses leading up to the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. More from NPR's Claudia Grisales.
We have seen members from both sides of the aisle applaud the move. House Speaker Mike Johnson, one of the first members to weigh in, said he was happy Cheadle pleaded the cause. Comer and Raskin, a Republican and Democratic leaders of that oversight committee also praised the move. Both said Monday's hearing made it clear she had to step down. And this comes on the same day Johnson and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries formally announced a bipartisan task force to investigate the security lapses that led to this assassination attempt.
I can't pause the news. It says, sorry, an error occurred.
Delta Airlines is under federal investigation
late,
as it continues to struggle to recover from a global
stats,
software outage that occurred last week.
We don't have any real drop frames or anything.
Reports that the airline canceled more than 400 flights again today.
For the fifth day in a row, Delta has canceled hundreds of flights. The Atlanta-based carrier is still trying to get its operations in order after a faulty update from the cybersecurity company CrowdStrike that grounded planes around the world. But while other major U.S. airlines have managed to recover, Delta has not. Now, the U.S. Department of Transportation has opened an investigation. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg warned that Delta must, quote, take care of their passengers and honor their customer service commitments, unquote. Delta says it's working to restore the software that tracks and schedules its flight crews. But CEO Ed Bastian said it may be a few days before operations return to normal. Joel Rose, NPR News, Washington.
Veteran U.S. Senator Bob Menendez says he'll resign next month. The announcement comes a week after the New Jersey Democrat was convicted in a bribery case and also comes under the threat of expulsion. Menendez maintains his innocence and vows to appeal. He is scheduled for sentencing in October. You're listening to NPR News. U.S. Capitol Police have arrested protesters who staged a sit-in at a congressional office building earlier today. The demonstration, organized by the group Jewish Voice for Peace, was held on the eve of the Israeli Prime Minister's address to a joint session of the House and Senate. Benjamin Netanyahu also plans to meet with President Biden Thursday before traveling to Florida for a gathering with Donald Trump. A group of scientists say they may have discovered oxygen being created in a lightless area of the ocean floor. The discovery might challenge commonly held beliefs about how oxygen is created on Earth and could have implications for deep-sea mining. More from NPR's Joe Hernandez.
The researchers studying a part of the Pacific Ocean say they believe electrically charged metallic formations may be creating oxygen on the sea floor. Until now, it was believed that oxygen was only created on Earth through a process called photosynthesis that uses light energy from the sun. The researchers published their findings in an article in the journal Nature Geoscience. The formations contain metals such as nickel and cobalt, which can be used to make batteries for things like consumer electronics and electric vehicles. The researchers say the new findings will need to be taken into account in future deep-sea mining projects to ensure that marine life isn't deprived of necessary oxygen. Joe Hernandez, NPR News.
On Wall Street, stocks closed mostly lower. The Dow fell 57 points. The Nasdaq lost 10 points. And the S&P 500 edged 8 points lower. I'm Shay Stevens. This is NPR.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families.
Wonder what insane
where kids
fish
learn
they're
how
going
to
to discover
save,
next.
invest, and spend wisely, and parents can
Seeds
keep
to
an
life
eye on
that are
kids'
going to
new money
change the
habits.
whole way we
Get
understand
your first month
the
free
evolution
at
of life here.
greenlight.com/NPR.
I don't think that's actually going to happen. And now, more from NPR.
Now, a very serious story about...
I'm looking at my speed test stuff. So we just ran a speed test, and I was at 860 megabits per second. And looking at the dock, which I've been refreshing, yeah, we aren't losing any frames due to rendering lag. If I do cut out, or if there are any issues, please let me know. We did just recently get our roof replaced, so I'm hoping that didn't lead to any problems with the way the power and internet lines that run to our house might be impacting our internet speeds. But back to your earlier question, J-Star, we're doing pretty well besides the fact that I clicked the add button like 4 minutes before it ended up running, or that there does seem to be a little bit of delay. But looking at our rendering lag and frames, even while I pulled up some of the speed tests and things, it looks to be okay. We also had to take Jackson to the vet today. So for the first non-news topics or real-life news topics, he does look comfortable. As I was saying right when I started the stream, I'm happy he decided to make his way onto one of the beds and to be comfy, because he spent a large portion of, like, literally almost 3 hours hiding underneath my main bed, the bed I sleep on, after we got back from the vet. He said, "Fuck you. How dare you put me in a carrier, take me to the vet, force them to swab my nose, take my blood, and give us medicine." And it's been rare. Since he had cancer surgery, which was almost exactly a year ago, he has not hid from me for that long. So I will show the video I also posted in my Discord of him from when we, this is him. I started recording because he was meowing uncontrollably. And this is in my car, where I then unzipped the cat carrier and had to put my hand in there to pet him. And even you'll probably hear in this 25 second segment me tell him it's okay. But listen to the sad meow response he gave to that. So that's after he's meowing. We reach in and start petting him. And then I zip it back up.
It's okay.
So sad. Oh shit, I don't know why green screens. Or why it's also, this is the natural resolution, I guess. So you can see it without it being all pixelated. But yeah, he was not a happy camper. He's normally not super bad about it. Like, he doesn't love the cat carrier. But what I did was I opened it up, put his favorite blanket in there last night, which he's laying on top of. You can see even nestled up next to his little head. But yeah, yesterday, like, he already had an annual checkup scheduled since he did have cancer surgery and a dental checkup and a bunch of teeth extracted almost at the same exact time, end of July 2 years ago. So when I took him for checkup last year, they noticed a lump, which I had noticed as well, but thought was just like, oh, it's not a huge deal. And they did a biopsy, found out it was cancerous, and had to pay over $1,100 last year to have that surgically removed. Just getting the regular like labs done in order for them to find out if his sneezing stuff, which has just started in the last couple of days, where he's been sneezing back to back a lot. He hasn't had a lot of discharge or anything, but just the labs themselves were almost $200 fucking, which is crazy. And then they gave him a antiviral shot and sent me home with this like Viralix like paste that I can feed him that is additional like antiviral stuff, and told me if he continues having any issues, to his blood work actually looked pretty good. They did say he's still a little overweight for a 15-year-old boy, but that I can get him some antibiotics, since they did say they go with the antivirals first, since this obviously was a upper respiratory infection that I think is viral, but that if there is any potentially like bacterial infection or anything that could follow, that I could get some antibiotics as well, but they recommend the antiviral solution first. So Daju, I'm actually curious to your input on this, since I know you're much more attuned with the pet world, but he's been sleeping most of the time since we got back. He crawled immediately when I let him out of the cat carrier under my bed and stayed there for almost 2 hours, which I felt bad about, since even when he had the cancer surgery, like, he hid a little bit, but was still like kind of close to me. Not gonna lie, I've not had much experience with URIs in my work. I haven't either. Or the weird thing is, I asked, like, how could he have gotten like a viral respiratory infection? Like, if I haven't been sick, or like he hasn't really, unless he did like boop noses with some of the like feral street cats and stuff that do occasionally show up in the yard. Like, I've been most worried about like feline herpes, because that's like a real thing. Like, here, we'll go back to this. It's like feline, if you look up like even just feline like viral infections, like this is one of the top results that pops up. But he hasn't really had like nasal discharge or like the green like nasal problems. He's still been eating. His poop looks normal. I know this is getting into like weird territory for people that might have tuned in for not hearing about like cat poop and stuff. But like his stools, his eating, a lot of that stuff has been super normal. most of the time when we have sneezing, eye discharge is bacterial. Well, that's what they said, is that but they did blood work, and they did say they think he has an upper respiratory infection. I asked if they could tell me, like, what the viral infection was, because obviously, like, I wanted to fucking Google it and, like, research it, and they were like, no, it's fine. I've eaten my lunch with a cancer lump floating in a container in front of me, so you're good. Well, yeah, but I mean, the weird part is after charging me, like, $200 to do labs after, like, a fucking $70 exam fee. I mean, I paid over $400 today just to give him basically a shot and some stuff that I'm mixing in with his treats that they say should hopefully help. And if it doesn't fully help, if there is anything that could be bacterial to follow, they recommend that I give him some antibiotics, which are like another $56, which after looking online, you can get for like $20, even from things like Chewy and shit. So like, I think they have like almost 100% markup, but it is what it is. I love the place I've been taking him. I've been taking him there for years. They're wonderful doctors. They obviously even accommodated me moving up his appointment to this morning, as I realized he was like sneezing a ton last night, like back to back to back, and then did a weird thing where he like was like kind of shaking, trying to get sneezes out, but there wasn't really any discharge or anything. But then he like would not leave my side. So the reason I didn't stream yesterday is because he was clearly in some kind of like pain or discomfort, because he normally, as you can see even right now, he chills in completely other rooms or like distant areas. He is not the most clingy cat that you'll see on the planet. The exam fee is about the same at our place. I know our lab fees are pretty expensive, but that's because we're a small hospital and don't have anything in-house for running it. So we have to send it out. They did too. And that's why they claimed it was like $200. But they did get the results back in like 5 hours. So I think it was like an expedited fee or whatever. But I knew something was wrong yesterday because they also gave him a nasal spray. I think it was honestly just like saline or like, Nasonex kind of shit for cats. Because I asked if I needed to give him any additional like nasal spray for home. Since again, while like Googling and looking at some of this, there are like dog and cat like nasal sprays, but looking at the ingredients for it, a lot of it is just basically like a saline mix. But they said they gave him that. They also like, checked for any obstructions. There weren't any obstructions, because they did ask if he ever went outside. And I was like, yeah, sometimes, but only under supervision. Well, sometimes it can be like grass or like, foreign things that can get into their, little nasal cavities or whatever they called them. And that can be a problem. That wasn't the problem. They then did blood work that cost like fucking, the whole thing was like $450. But it is what it is. Even after $2,000 in like surgery shit last year and over $1,000 in dental shit the year before, like the dude has cost way more than I ever expected to spend on an animal. Like I've joked multiple times about like, if it crosses a certain threshold, especially now that he's like 15 years old, it might just be time to figure out whether it's time to, move on, which might sound cold and callous. But I even asked some of that today. It was like, is he going to be okay, like recovering from this? I'm like, yeah, sure. For as old as he is, he actually seems fine. Or where they even asked me, like, has he been eating? Is his poop and stuff like okay and everything? It's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, if anything, he does seem to have some arthritic symptoms. So for a Housework Wednesday stream coming up here, what we might do is build him a nice incline ramp for getting up to the bed he's in right now, which I could then use for the bed that I sleep in, and even maybe the couch, maybe make it slotted or tiered and adjustable. So he's getting a little bit arthritic as a 15-year-old cat, but like cat years to human years. I mean, he's like 80 or something. Like he's getting up 15. He's like 76 in human years. So he's a fucking trooper for how old he is. But anyways, we have 2 medicines we can give him or continue giving him, but he seemed pretty much like his normal self today. it really just worried me because it seemed like he was having problems like breathing because he was sneezing and then doing like a hic kind of thing, like he was going to puke, even though he never really has problems with like hairballs and stuff like that. So I was a bit worried yesterday when we started a bunch of our stuff, or when I would normally be starting my stream. Here. Can we do this? Oh, fuck, this gets in the way. Here, this, you can see why I say it gets in the way. I was going to transition to this, but this covers up his face. The most important part. Can I put this just in the corner? It's not the same size, but fuck it, it works. But he definitely hated me for what happened today. Like, he's normally pretty chill. They did swab his nose, which is probably why he was more upset than some of the stuff that's happened before. And that's also why I guess they didn't recommend the antibiotics, because they said, you know, his blood work looked pretty okay. He's obviously a little overweight. They gave me like some of that additional antiviral stuff, but said like most of his like blood levels and like glucose and stuff look good. White blood cells look good. So that's where they then asked, like, has he been eating? Do his stools look normal? Has he had any like, you know, stool problems and things? Like, no, he looks, you know, pretty good on that regard. He eats all of his food all the time, and even like wakes me up and eats all the snacks and stuff I give him, like the chicken breast, life essential stuff I've showed off. So it's good to see him back to his real self, especially as somebody that's getting pretty old up in there. But yeah, that's why I didn't stream yesterday, or why I mentioned that, you know, I'll just show you what I posted yesterday, because this is the last photo from before, which also like didn't seem concerning at the time, but I put like I titled this like touch of the foot while sleeping. And then this was him yesterday, just sitting next to me, like mean mugging me, where I basically said like, oh shit, why can't I, this cannot go in front of it. Said, hey y'all, Jackson isn't doing super well, sneezing a lot and sounds like he has the sniffles, so I won't be on tonight. I moved what was supposed to be his annual vet appointment checkup to tomorrow morning, so hopefully everything gets better, or will be better tomorrow, which it is. It seems great. But the shitty part is that figuring all that out costs like a lot of money, almost $500, over $400. But yeah, this was him yesterday, just like staring at me. He did have a little bit of like eye mucus and stuff, but like did not want to leave my side, compared to today. Oh, you can't see that? Oh, you can just in the corner. Shit. Well, fuck it. We'll just leave all that up too. Because another topic, I think, if I can pull up Discord again, I don't want to... Can I hide this side? Is it possible? Well, I guess... I don't want to hide... I don't want to dox anybody who sent me messages. Oh, there's no way of showing this without doxing who sent me messages. I do want to address again, and hopefully for the last time throughout all this nonsense, the stuff that's been going on for the Sauce SMP server. Because I did have some additional questions about that even yesterday while I was in Sauce's chat, and while the Sauce Emeralds and like Sauce Boy stuff was being revealed, which I even brought up in chat, like, wasn't this joked about on launch? Or I'd even heard people talking about before launch. I had thought during my last stream 2 days ago, which followed a pretty long week, like in the last 7 days, I have turned down a job offer that I thought was going to be a dream job. I have visited friends that I haven't met in a long time. Took the nearly longest amount of time off of streaming since this last holiday period that I'd taken off in order to go meet up with some of those people. I then also hosted a friend who was staying with me, who I used to work with from multiple jobs ago, and then met up with other people who I've also previously only known through Twitch and had never met IRL while watching a show hosted by one of my very good friends who I've known since undergrad or for now over a decade, which sounds weird to say. So it's been a pretty long week, but in the middle of all of that, 2 weeks ago, I didn't think there were any issues, or I thought all of the issues related to playing on the Sauce SMP server and stuff had been resolved. So I danced around the topic. I talked about it pretty vaguely 2 days ago. I didn't want to name any names or talk about anything specifically because I was worried it would just, make the problem potentially worse, since naming names and talking about things specifically is what led us to this point. But I realized that being vague about it only led to more questions, which I received 2 days ago and even up through yesterday. So it's great to see J-Star as the first person in here and to have been building relationships with tons of new people in outside of my or Sauce's normal streams and getting to know tons of people. I mean, I say tons, like at least half a dozen people who I've continued engaging with, some who I've even had gift subs with and have been in streams where I've been asked also about joining in, but where things got very awkward last week when I talked about not joining in, or even 2 days ago when I thought being vague about it would have helped the situation, but without repeating myself too much again here, I was purposely vague about because naming things hasn't helped recently. So at the risk of making things worse, I'm just going to give a quick rundown of the events that have happened since the beginning of this month. Since at the end of the last month, I was at the Sauce Wellness Retreat with Sauce, almost all of his mods from the Sauce SMP server, and having a pretty damn good time with all of them IRL. And after having played multiple games, not just Minecraft, with many of them for almost like over 6 months. I've known and met many of them, even for multiple IRL occasions, for over 6 months, almost 9 months if you count how long it's been since Sauce and I have actually been interacting, even through Twitch. But I danced around some of the topic because I feel like I am walking on eggshells. If you watch my last VOD or my last stream, I even mentioned that it seemed kind of contradictory that I was told that some of the issues related to me being on the server, or Sauce SMP in particular, were due to other people feeling like they needed to walk on eggshells. And that coming after me feeling like a lot of the issues related to stuff that happened over 3 weeks ago, or at the beginning of this month, after the Sauce Retreat, had already been resolved. So after the Sauce Retreat, just a couple of days after that, at the very beginning of this month, I was live on my server, JVSMP, Vanilla Paradise, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and was talking with other people, or just making an open call to people about building a blaze farm on my server, and had a conversation with Speedy that quickly devolved into something that now seems like was just a simple miscommunication. So I am only naming them because I think it's important to talk about this issue in a real way, and where it's unfortunate that I wasn't able to reach a resolution with them on that night, or that even through that night, I thought it was very sad to see them log off the server while I was still live, essentially rage quit when we were playing and when I was trying to rally support for building something that I then died a lot actually trying to build awkwardly after the fact, the blaze spawner I'd been talking about. But it all started with him, talking about something that they'd been working on or they'd planned for Sauce SMP. So the planning and all of that, or getting into the semantics of it, was something that didn't really get clarified until I brought it up in Discord, since after my stream, a few people had reached out to me, or actually 4 people had reached out to me. 2 right after I ended my stream asking, like, what the hell happened? Or like, what was all of that about? And another couple the next day asking if things were okay. And this bridged across both people who regularly joined in from my community and Sauce's community, asking if things were okay because they heard about or had seen in real time kind of what was happening, but maybe weren't following all the messages or things that were going on. So I made a 2-paragraph post on my Discord about, hey, for over 4.5 hours, I was streaming on my server, having a good time, talking about building a blaze spawner, had a conversation with Speedy, which, you know, I thought derailed things into a topic that wasn't well clarified, and where I also only posted the logs from that night, or where I posted a 30-minute segment, unedited, unblurred, unclipped, like I just took from where the conversation started to even a few minutes after they had logged off, and posted that entire segment in my Discord. And not just in a general channel, or not just in like a publicly broadcast channel, but in a thread underneath my gaming hub on my Minecraft channel about just, I mean, it wasn't just about, it was just a literal screenshot of a 30-minute segment of the chat log from my Minecraft server. I have since learned and been told that that has made them feel extremely ostracized, or the exact wording from even Sauce over 2 weeks ago was that it made them feel embarrassed. Last week, he said, or even just a couple of days ago, that it made them feel humiliated. And I do apologize for that. My intent was never to make them feel, you know, embarrassed or humiliated. My intent was to not have to message 4 people plus them in order to try to clarify the situation, and to try to at least show with, or not just prove I'm right, but to show, here's what I saw from my perspective while I was live on my server, and just the literal verbatim posts of what were said in my stream, or in my server. So I mentioned some of that on my last stream, and talked about it kind of vaguely, which only led to more questions, which again continued even through yesterday. So I say all of this not to make Speedy continue feeling bad, or to make Sauce continue feeling bad, even though after all of that happened, again, this was the beginning of this month, I had an over hour-long conversation with Sauce and a different mod on his server who said they did see things from my perspective and understood why I tried to clarify the conversation, or why I posted those logs was because after I even brought things up before posting the logs, I felt like the conversation was still being misconstrued or misrepresented in terms of, you know, Speed even saying, here's what I was meaning to say, and here's how you interpreted. And I posted logs because what they were meaning to say was never conveyed through what was said while I was live on my server. So I apologize again if posting just a verbatim, unedited set of those logs made them, you know, feel humiliated or embarrassed. That was not, again, my intent. It was really just to try to give people a perspective of what it looked like from my end, and what I was literally reading while I was live. I was also asked during that hour-plus conversation with Sauce and another one of his mods, again, before the Sauce SMP server was launched, or over 2 weeks ago, to delete all of that from my Discord. So I've had a couple of questions about where they can find the VOD, or where they can find any of that stuff in Discord, and it doesn't exist because I was asked to delete it. So for those that feel like I'm just trying to wipe anything negative that I said, I was literally asked, or as a condition at the end of the conversation that I'd had with Sauce and one of his other mods over 2 weeks ago now, before joining when the Sauce SMP server launched, I was asked to delete those messages from Discord. So I only mentioned what I mentioned, or brought things up vaguely on my last stream, because after all of that, I thought things were at least mostly resolved. I was asked, or even told, that I should have tried to reach out and resolve things directly with Speedy, you know, instead of making that public post on Discord. And I reached out that day after I had that conversation with Sauce and one of his other mods and sent an apology messages to Speedy, only to find out that I was blocked from being able to do so on Discord. So I have since sent over a half a dozen messages to them, even including a public apology to everyone else and more who were involved in my original Discord post that included me sharing the chat logs. But I don't think that they ever received it because I'm blocked. So it was a slap in the face last week, or almost exactly this time last week, after thinking things were resolved. We're spending a whole week, even with others who've been in my chat tonight, you know, J-Star, Aquatius, Angelino, Lissa, I mean, even others we've been engaging with for months as well, outside of, you know, Sauce, the other mods, Speedy themselves, or where, again, this is really shitty since it came just days after spending time with them IRL, but also engaging with a number of people without issue on the Sauce SMP server for over a week, and then being told that Speedy issued an ultimatum to Sauce that said, if I'm playing on the server, they will not. So that is what I learned 7 days ago, almost exactly a week ago today. And where they said, or it was Monday night, so 7.5 days ago, less than 8 days ago, where after spending a week and thinking things were resolved, or after spending over an hour talking to Sauce and one of their mods, they issued an ultimatum saying they didn't want me playing on it. And this is also after, at the end of that original conversation, I was told not only did they see things from my perspective, but that I'd be allowed to play on the server, and that I'd even be given OP status, which I never tested. Sauce can check the records. I never issued a single command. I never even tried OP. I never tried whitelist. I never tried any give or any commands whatsoever. And that breaks my fucking heart. Like, to hear that 3 weeks after the whole issue came up, or even after over a week of thinking things were resolved, which I briefly kind of touched on during my last stream, which only led to more questions, I have to continue talking about this. Because even up through yesterday, I've been continuing to message Sauce and at least one other mod, you know, from his server. Another person who I've met IRL now more than a couple of times, or a few times where I thought we had a lot of fun without issue. And where I was told, even last week, by Sauce, that they understood the catch-22. Thought that it did seem unfair that I'm being told I need to resolve something with somebody who doesn't seem to have any interest in resolving things, or where over the last 2 weeks, they've not only blocked me, but haven't been open to even having a conversation about this, yet are the one issuing an ultimatum asking for me to be banned. So to those who have reached out, or to those who have crossed these communities, or are wondering why I wasn't online even last night, when the Sauce Emerald, Sauce Packet, Craft Boy, whatever, was announced or was released, or to even hear other messages, you know, saying that if I'm messaging in their chats while they're live, hyping up even some of the things like were released last night, that it's functionally similar to the messages I was receiving when I was live that I posted in Discord, which included things like, do you want to feel broken wrists? Get good. Do you know what elytra is? Or things that I didn't interpret as, you know, like actual threats or true antagonization in the moment. But if I'm being told that I'm the asshole for posting literal, just unedited sets of what someone said, and that someone feels embarrassed or ashamed about me doing that, I do apologize that me doing so made them feel that way, but that's usually not how, like, bans work. It's not like you usually get a one strike and you're out, like, hey, it's not like I was cussing them out or that I banned them. They're still not even, none of these people that I'm mentioning, no one has been banned on my server in the last month. The only people I've banned are, like, bot people who've tried to follow or other Twitch people who've asked about some of the stuff. I've never banned anyone who I've whitelisted for over 2 months now. So to have a soft ban, which to even Sauce's credit, he did say, I'm not fully banned. I'm still whitelisted, but I've been asked not to log in since Speedy issued the ultimatum saying that if I'm playing, they will not play. And the logs will show I've not even attempted to do that either. But to those who've been asking if I'm going to play or why I'm not playing, or even after my last VOD, why I am banned, I'm not fully, I guess, banned. Like, I could log in, I suppose. I don't know. I haven't tried, so I assume that what Sauce said was truthful and that I am still able to log in. But I'm not testing it because I would like to resolve things. And the shittiest part of all of this, or why I'm bringing it up again, is because I talked about it on my stream 2 days ago, and then after additional conversations, even up through yesterday with Sauce and another mod, I heard that, this has been exhausting. Or that even he's kind of at wit's end in terms of trying to resolve this, despite a week ago when I felt slapped in the face after spending over a week on the server without issue. He's felt like I'm now the one pushing too hard on trying to have this be resolved. Again, despite also being told that they understand the unfair kind of catch-22 that results in me needing to resolve this with someone who has not been open to having a conversation about any of this, or who, after more than 2 weeks of not having any conversation with me, and over a week of me playing on the Sauce SMP, has called for me to be banned. I don't know what else I can do. I've tried reaching out to them. I've issued a public apology to everybody else who was involved in the Discord conversation. I deleted the Discord conversation at the request of one of the other mods on the server, while during that conversation being under the understanding that I was allowed to play on there. So all I ask is that everyone else involved put themselves in my shoes. This is the first Minecraft server I've ever been banned on. And I've been a Minecraft member for over 12 years. I've even shown multiple times. I've been a Twitch user for over 10 years. I've been a Steam user for over 10 years, using the same username I'm still using today without edits or without modifications or name changes. Like, do !account age. Here, I'll just fucking do it again. I've done it a handful of times. But I'd like to think that despite 10 years, 7 months, and 12 days of not having any bans on any of these platforms, that over the even almost year I've been playing these games with some of these individuals, or the almost 9 months with even Speedy, and the multiple in-person or IRL meetings I've had with them and other members of Sauce's community, that they know that this isn't what I'm trying to represent. I wasn't trying to create a ton of controversy out of nowhere. I wasn't trying to make anyone feel embarrassed or ostracized or ashamed of anything that happened even on my server. Or if anyone did feel humiliated, which were, again, Sauce's exact words, that I was, potentially making them feel humiliated in front of others. Show me where I've posted things, or where I have said things in other people's chats, or where I have sent more than 30 messages in 20 minutes on anyone else's chat that would make me feel humiliated. Because I feel like the table can't be turned around. Or where this gets awkward, because I'm also hearing that they're exhausted in terms of dealing with this, but how the fuck do you think I feel? Again, I'm tired of getting messages about this. And I'm not going to out all the people who've been messaging me about some of this, but it's now been going on for me for over 3 weeks. And up until Monday night of last week, I thought this was resolved. So if I'm now messaging other people about it, or if other people are even feeling uncomfortable because of me apologizing about the situation in the last 7 days, fuck out of here. You think this is what I want to be doing over 3 weeks after this whole thing started? No. I thought this whole thing was resolved over a week ago, during which I spent over a week on over 3 streams. I mean, literally the last thing I did on the Sauce SMP server was fish with sauce all the way up through its shutdown. Like, I had no issues with anyone and met a ton of new people who I mentioned on my last stream. I'm not going to try to make them feel bad again. Or I don't want anyone to feel bad. My whole goal with even mentioning all the other great interactions I had without any issue during the week I was on the Sauce SMP server is to point out that over the 10 months I've been live and the 9+ months I've been engaged with that community, that night is the only time I had issue. And that night also came after hundreds of hours of game interactions, not only on my server, across multiple different games. And also multiple in-person interactions. Some of which even involved me, I think, having pretty damn good times with some of those people. So to have a one strike and you're out kind of policy for something that didn't even happen on that server, or to be told that I'm now pressing the issue or being the asshole here, I feel like doesn't give credit to the actual situation from my perspective. Or we're even being told that the act of me posting unedited chat logs from the beginning of the conversation through the exit on my server while I was live was humiliating. If we remove ourselves from this situation, usually the person who feels humiliated by the things that they said, or if they feel like the things that they were saying, even outside of those logs, which is why I posted them, was not representative of what was included in those logs, it's usually not the fault of the person showing those things to be like the primary asshole. Like, I do again apologize if it made Speedy or anyone else from Sauce's community feel uncomfortable with me doing so, but I hope again that they could put themselves in my shoes. Like, how would they feel if after they were live, they had a disagreement or misunderstanding with somebody when they were live, and were, even after they tried to bring the topic up to multiple people who'd asked about the issue or kind of asked what the fuck was going on after their stream, like thought that maybe a semi-secluded, non-generally open Discord sub-channel that they had might be a good place to at least address it with those who were kind of directly involved in the issue. Like, my only other option would have been to have DM'd everyone, and maybe that would have been a better alternative. But to have this level, or over 3 weeks now, of flip-flopping and not knowing what else I could be doing to make the situation better feels completely unfair. And I was even called out over the last 48 hours about calling the situation immature. But if one party has been trying to address this now for 3 weeks, or even issued public apologies, or has even tried reaching out to issue direct apologies, and complied with everything that they've been told would resolve the situation, or did resolve the situation for over 8 days, where I played on the server for every day it was open without issue, like, what more am I expected to do? Because I'm now being told that I should just wait an indeterminate amount of time, or a significant period away from all of this. Yet, I don't think any of the people saying all of that really understand that over these last 9 months, our communities have become semi-immigrated, like integrated, and where I'm tired of fielding questions about this whole situation too. I've even had questions from 2 people who don't play on either of our servers about this. That's the way that this extends. And I understand I'm perpetuating some of that right now by spending almost 15 minutes talking about it. But it's important to me to try to resolve these matters and to understand what more I can do other than just not respond to people or pretend like the issue is just going to go away. when, if we want to look at why I also called the response on the other side immature for my last stream, I've been trying to have a rational, reasonable, even apologetic, and open, mature conversation about this for now 3 weeks. If the other side, who is issuing ultimatums and calling for me to be banned, doesn't even want to engage, would you say that that side is acting more or less mature? So I say all of this because I'm done talking about some of this like during my streams or when I'm live. I get that even what I've said is now risking additional problems because, again, I've issued an apology to over 8 people on Discord. I've tried reaching out to resolve this over half a dozen times. I thought the issue was resolved for probably like the half a dozenth time I'm saying it now on this stream a week ago. So to get slapped in the face last week and then have even more people reaching out to me asking what the fuck is going on, or even yesterday asking me if I'm going to be joining, or 2 days ago as well, breaks my fucking heart, you know? Like, I know I've used that phrase many times on my stream, but like this breaks my fucking heart. Like I thought I'd built a pretty good and even wanted to have an integrated community with this group of people, including even Speedy, who we've had one bad day together, or less than 24-hour period where all this went down. So to have the entire world come crumbling down, like this just goes to show that the quotes about like you can have a lifetime of good interactions, but one bad interaction can bring it all down. I refuse to believe that that should be the case, especially when it comes to communal interactions, or even being able to be on the sidelines, whether they and I interact or engage at all anymore. Just as shown through the over week that I was on the Sauce SMP and having a pretty damn good time, or even engaging with Aquatius and J-Star and Angelino and Lissa, and not just, you know, Panda and Noel and Adagio and all the other people on my side of the community who have crossed over, or who were already kind of crossed over from the very start, but where I didn't have any negative interactions with any of the mods, or where, again, the last time I signed off on Minecraft on the Sauce SMP was fishing with Sauce. So I don't know what else I can do. And to feel helpless in that regard while trying to offer the olive branch, or even if my Discord post, which for the half a dozenth time on this stream, I do again apologize for, if it did make anyone feel uncomfortable or humiliated. Like, my goal with that was to simply show what the conversation looks like from my perspective. And I thought over 2 weeks ago that had been understood or had been clarified. On my last stream, I did say I was willing to share that again. I don't know if that would be a good idea, since I've also had some negative feedback about me even saying exactly that, as well as me saying that I think, you know, this seems immature, but I'm trying to address these things maturely. And I've been told on multiple occasions that some people do say things from my perspective. So I don't know how else to address this without continuing to show what things look like from my perspective, or to hope that other people can at least put themselves in my shoes and understand that, I mean, it's now over a dozen messages. I went through Discord and actually counted before I started my stream today. It's like 16 messages that I've had over the last 2 weeks asking just about the situation since that stream 3 weeks ago. And like I said on my last stream, it shouldn't take weeks or a month to resolve these things. So to continue to be told, even up through yesterday, that I'm somehow pressing the issue too much, or that I need to let other people take more time. I've been trying to fix this since almost literally the day after it happened. And I thought it was resolved less than a week after it happened, which is now more than like a week ago. Just barely. So, am I the asshole for continuing to try to want this to be resolved? Or would the more mature way to handle this be to actually try to resolve this without it lasting additional weeks or months? If it's unfair to ask that question, again, I don't know what the fuck else to do. And again, even going back to the interaction, like I probably cursed more on this stream than I did on the stream where all this stuff happened. Where I never cursed anyone out. I never spoke extremely like negatively or derogatorily or embellished any kind of things about anyone. Even the thing I'm kind of being judged the most for was posting a literal unedited transcript of the events from my perspective. So I don't know. I don't know how else to rationally handle the situation other than just pretend like it doesn't exist, which unfortunately hasn't been super possible given the more than dozen messages I've had from multiple people who've been asking about what happened, why it happened, why I'm not playing on the server, if I'm going to play on the server again, and where I'd rather continue building community and having better engagements and fostering communities where people do feel safe, where people do feel accepted, and where people can join me to build a blaze farm if they want to, but without having to continue walking on eggshells on my side or feeling like an asshole just for wanting to have a conversation or to try to move past this. So we're now at the hour mark. I'm getting notifications about the ad timer again. Thank you to more than 10 of you who've stuck through not just the news, but me talking about all of this. Like, if any of you really think this is how I've wanted my last 2 streams to start, or I've wanted the last 3 weeks to go, especially given those of you from both communities who know a lot of the other bullshit, which I'm not ever going to really use as an excuse, but like not just counting today and the vet visit and all that stuff with Jackson, or me flying out of town and interviewing for other jobs and then turning down offers and things for those jobs while also moving or like driving from some of those interviews to the retreat where I was engaged with Sauce, Speedy, and other people from those communities and stuff. Like, it's not an excuse, but I hope you can understand why, if we ever have a miscommunication, especially during times of high stress on either of our sides, I would rather the way we work it out to be having a follow-up, adult, mature conversation rather than ultimatums and outright bans or outright calls for bans without engagement or like even willing to try to address the issue. That to me does not make any sense. And I don't know what else to do to try to fix things. So, if y'all don't want me to fix things, that's fine. We can continue playing The Expanse or Baldur's Gate or all the fun things. We've been playing Detroit Become Human, all the single-player games in the world. I could start Elden Ring DLC, and we could just say we're too busy playing other single-player games to continue engaging across communities. But I'd be lying if I said that that's what I'd prefer to be doing compared to what we have been doing for the last over 6 months. If that makes me the bad guy, I don't fucking know what to say. Or I don't know where, even during these last 6 to 9 months, I've ever been in a position where other people have even had chat logs or other things they've wanted to post about stuff I've said during other people's streams or even during my own stream that they felt extremely like embarrassed or ostracized and humiliated by. So, whole thing is a mess. I don't have any words of wisdom either. On the bright side, Detroit Become Human brought us all the memes. This is true too. It is now becoming one of the most active, I'm not just going to try to flip this around and be positive about it. I'll even be honest about this part. I'll just pull this up directly. And I'll just make it on my Discord too. We'll make this the background. This is my Discord. And you can see the only gaming group. Well, fuck. We'll flip this around so you can see Jackson in there. But here's to show the actual impact of some of these things. We have my gaming groups. My gaming groups include a number of games, many of which have had many posts. My Minecraft group has the most posts, 146. And if you actually look at the amount of posts even made within that, it's super shitty to see that a large, not only, I won't say a large portion, almost all of them are extremely positive. There were never any messages that seemed negative or were even up through the beginning of this month. You can even see right here. I've been careful and tried to not make any person feel called out or singled out through this. But the large portion of a lot of these posts even came from the person who's now, without even wanting to have a conversation about things, calling for me to be banned. So, again, I know I use the phrase this breaks my fucking heart a lot, but this breaks my fucking heart. Because I don't even know how to fix this. Or I've tried to fix this, and I don't know how. But even same thing here, even through Fortnite and other posts, or Dead by Daylight and other stuff that we were doing, it's not just Minecraft. Or even Scare Ritual, which just had a new map release and another update, which less than a week ago, or about exactly a week ago, I was talking with people about us doing while thinking everything had been mostly resolved on Minecraft. So I say this, again, for the same reason that, while apologetic for any reasons that might have made anyone feel uncomfortable, that I posted the logs, the whole reason I did that is to try to help other people see what this looks like from my perspective. And Minecraft doesn't even show up as a popular gaming group or gaming hub, or where there've only been, honestly, 2 people who've reached out to me about my server after joining the Sauce SMP on launch day and every day up until this time last week, but who have more been interested in why I'm not on Sauce SMP rather than even being serious about being whitelisted on my server, where I've also not banned or excluded anyone. So, yeah. Panda, you don't need to say sorry. And St. Noel memes, there have been a lot of great things that have continued to happen over the last week, or if I can transition into the positive, a lot of wonderful things have continued to happen. I do appreciate all the support I've continued to have, and it's amazing that I'm still, not only if I can also show some fun stuff, over 50 subs for the first time after last week, during all of this nonsense, or amidst all this nonsense, but to see that a large portion of that has allowed me to do some really fun things, which we're also not too far away from continuing to build out. So here, I think I can show this without doxing myself. Maybe. I think I can. If this doxes me, fuck. But, I mean, we're only another 9 subscriber points away from unlocking an additional reward, standard emote, and animated emote slot. The fact that we've grown to this level, or that we already have, over 500 legitimate followers amidst the, 6.436 followers that Twitch lists. And then we also have, a 10th of those now at this point as subs is nuts. It's nuts to me. And I'd love to be able to celebrate all of that, especially with the people who I celebrated even becoming affiliate with. And to continue building out some of these things, we're even congratulating in the stream last night without saying anything about any of this, Sauce announcing the Sauce Emerald and the stuff while they joined into Sauce SMP, which, again, we'd heard talked about since even before the launch, or which was joked about on launch day. I've added so many new things to this stream that I haven't even wanted to talk about, or which have even been created by other people who I met through Sauce's community that feel weird about me talking about right now. Or feel weird about me even posting in Sauce's Discord, which I used to do pretty regularly as well. So, again, I'm trying to see if there's a way mature, rational conversations can continue happening. And I don't know what else I can do on my end to try to make those happen. Robbie Fowle is the channel. Raid Chain I met somebody who can do a Connor impression. Ooh. I'll have to look that up. It was spot on, especially since I caught a clip of Connor's voice acting earlier that day. I've seen so much of that, or I didn't realize how much all the Detroit Become Human, like they did the mocap, but I didn't realize they looked exactly like their characters. Like it was dead on. If anything, for a game that's almost 3.5 or 4 years old, that looks amazing in terms of the graphics, not just for the lighting and shading, but for how much Connor and all of them looked like. It's also all the more reason to feel upset about the fact that the second one got canceled. I guess I can just do IMDb to show it. Cara Connor, but like Marcus looks like it's insane. I also didn't realize until I was looking at some of this too, but the Cara is Starlight, or is Firecracker on The Boys, which is nuts. But yeah, Connor looks exactly like Connor. Jesse Williams looks exactly like Marcus. It's nuts. Enjoying your playthrough? You just started it yesterday, right, Panda? You're feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. Also the voice actor for Connor streams on Twitch? I didn't know that. Brian Deschar? Is it Deschart? Deschar? I think Shart is probably not good. This is probably the safer way to look this up too. Deschart Games. Aww. Baldur's Gate. Deschar. It's definitely not Deschart. It does end in a T though. Is that unfair? Oh, they've actually played a lot of the same games we've played. Oh man. Minus Overwatch 2. We gave up on Overwatch. Wait, is their goal to hit 500,000 followers? Holy shit. That's pretty wild. I thought John had a lot of followers for a lot of the stuff he'd been doing since COVID with StarKid. But Brian, despite only being in a handful of films, only 3 of which are mentioned them being known for, has 500,000 followers. That's all right. Voice acting is apparently a great way to get into Twitch streaming. Descartes? What does this Wikipedia page say? He didn't even spell it out. Or I guess his media team or agent didn't spell it out. Fuck. Now we need to look at this. The ads are probably going to run on their own again. Does he pronounce? I wanted to find something with him pronouncing it, not some weird channel.
Oh, hey.
Oh, he's wearing the outfit.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, depending on where you are.
Or good night.
Deckard. I play Connor.
Deckard.
I'm human. I'm joined in the
like Deckheart. That's how I would say it. Why did the donation thing pop up after that? That's weird. Who's good at making connections? Not me. I'm socially awkward. Hey, well, you just heard me talk for what I thought was only going to be like 10 or 15 minutes, but over 40 minutes about how, despite 9 months of community building, I'm also apparently still very awkward at making social connections, or very good at destroying them extremely quickly, too. I don't know. Like, do the like 500 plus people or 12 people here now like really think do I just give off like massive asshole vibes? Do I seem like the kind of person who just wants to fucking rip into people or make them feel humiliated or embarrassed or uncomfortable? Because if that's the vibe I do give off, like, fuck me. I don't know. Maybe I need to just like spend a lot of time in a salt tank or a cold bath or whatever the fuck they call those isolation chambers and do some deep introspection. I already thought I was getting pretty good at that. You're old. It's scary. I don't know how to respond to that, Noel. I think you're blunt and don't sugarcoat things. I would like for everyone I interact with to be the same. Or honestly, this whole situation, again, seems to be a matter of miscommunication. Or where I even posted some of those logs and things because I felt like through maybe joking and memery or whatever, the situation was being misrepresented. So I was like, hey, say I'm on the fucking spectrum, or like say I'm, socially awkward or whatever. But I was like, here's literally what I read and what happened. Like, if being blunt or asking for blunt, like, honesty, especially like when things move from joking, having a good fun time to like, hey, I'm being serious kind of time, just straight up fucking call me out on it. You're opinionated and stand your ground. Well, but I also feel like the same reason we start our streams off with NPR and stuff, I am open to being called out if I feel like the evidence that someone has issue with doesn't match whatever I'm saying. Like evidence-based arguments, opinions, or rational conversation is something I feel like I've tried to promote pretty fucking hard on here. Why did you think you said you're bald? It's scary, Noel. Wait, you said you're bald? It's scary? You said you're old. Wait, you say bald too? I'm bald by choice too. I could have hair. It wouldn't be a full head of hair. It wouldn't look attractive. I promise you that. I mean, I guess a lot of people do pull it off. There are people who do the whole like comb over thing, or like only grow it up to here, or like try to comb it down and hide it. Like I could do that. I've only been shaving my head because I know this looks way better compared to what growing my hair out does look like. Absolutely, you always want to have the chance to defend and rationalize. Well, I think that's how it's supposed to go. Seagrow! What's up? Dude, I ain't been listening, but leave me alone. Oh my God, you've been going on about me for days. I'm not embarrassed about shit. Release the don't want to talk to you. I blocked you weeks ago because I don't want to talk to you. Wait, that doesn't also make sense. Leave me alone. I just want you to leave me alone, please. Like, if anyone wants to know what happened, they can DM me. It's fine. But JV, leave me the fuck alone. Stop fucking harassing me. Stop talking about me. The last message I had from Sauce was to just be honest about the issue. And where, again, there have been now like over a dozen messages I've had about the issue. But the last message here, I'll just make this smaller just to show this. Here. We'll show the last message I had. This is literally yesterday with Sauce about this. Where they said, I'm spent trying to deal with this. I don't know what else to say or how to give any more than I already have. I do not enjoy this, and I'm not here to disregard your feelings, but right now we cannot deal with this anymore. It's exhausting and taxing, ongoing for days without rest. Could we please have some mutual respect, reflection, and plenty of time away from this situation and revisit it later. I do not want to engage with this every day here or on stream. Just tell people the truth about what happened when they ask. That's all we can do. Thank you. This again comes after where this time last week, I was not banned, or I had no clue that there even was still an issue. So I'm not trying to make anyone feel singled out, but I'm being told that I should stop dancing around the issue, or that I should just be honest with people about what happened. And where I had even more questions come up yesterday and again today, because during my last stream 2 days ago, I didn't name you, Speedy. I didn't say anything. I haven't said anything about you directly on stream. So, Seagirl, I'm trying to do well. I feel like I'm just trying to help people see things from my perspective, and where my response was all right, but I hope y'all don't hold it against me too if they get even more disproportionately butthurt when I say that the truth is that this time last week, I thought everything was already resolved. We were having a good time on your server together. Literally the last thing I was doing on the Sauce SMP server was fishing with Sauce almost exactly a week ago. And until I was told this time last week that there was an ultimatum issued where I was called to be banned, or what Sauce's exact words were, is that if I was going to play on the server, that Speedy wouldn't. So I said, that calling for me to be banned without having a conversation, which I've tried reaching out since over 2 weeks ago now, almost 3 weeks ago now, before the Sauce server launched, they suggested I reach out after having an hour-long conversation with them, where at the end of that conversation, he even said, I see things from your perspective. I'm not going to ban you, or I'm going to whitelist you and OP you, but you should try to reach out and resolve things directly. I tried to do that, Speedy. So like you said, you've blocked me for weeks. So I don't know how things can ever be resolved if I'm being told to reach out, but can't do so. So the end of this was me basically saying the same thing I was saying on this stream, saying, trust me, I'm tired of having to deal with this too, and having others asking about it, or not being able to continue enjoying things together. So I hope we can move past it, or resolve things without plenty of time away, or whatever the hell that means. So I'm not, again, or as I feel like now said multiple times, I'm not trying to make anybody feel super bad, but I don't know how to talk about this without being honest about it or telling the truth, which is what the last message I had about this whole topic yesterday told me to do. So I see exactly what just happened in my chat as being reminiscent of what happened when this all started. And I'd planned to jump into some fun games and to have a good night tonight, but I don't fucking know. Like, again, like if one night, or even 3 posts on Discord, one of which is literally an unedited, verbatim, unclipped set of what was posted in my chat on my server while I was live, makes me the asshole, I am not sorry for trying to actually have a conversation about that for the last 3 weeks since that happened. Or that, considering again, less than 12 days ago, or for a period of 8 days, I didn't even know this was still an issue. And I hadn't said anything about it. So, to continue getting messages like that while I'm live, and trying to talk about things with other people who have asked me about some of this stuff, or where, again, I had multiple people reach out even after the stream where all this shit started over 3 weeks ago, ask me what was going on, and that being why I posted about it in Discord. Like, I find it absurd that even after hearing that other people did see things from my perspective or could put themselves in my shoes, that I'm being told in my own chat while I'm live yet again. And again, you're not embarrassed about shit. Like, the exact words during this last message set that I had was that I humiliated you. And before that, that it was embarrassing for me to post the logs. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to have a real conversation about that, but those are the words I've been receiving as to why I'm being asked not to log in again this week or over the last 7 days, despite being told that everything seemed okay less than 14 days ago. So I'm not supposed to talk about that? I'm supposed to just continue ignoring those who do ask about it? Since I could be playing that right now? I don't know. I don't know. As I was saying before, like, I'm not trying to make anybody feel singled out about this, but what do you do when you're told that you have people seeing things from your perspective? Or when you're told that a situation you'd been trying to resolve with somebody who had already blocked you was resolved, only to have it then come up over a week later as not only not resolved, but something that was apparently still so serious that, I mean, if I can be honest about what I was also told, I was even told that I shouldn't come to other in-person events, which again breaks my fucking heart. Like, from the Korean barbecue to the escape room to dressing up and having a great time at the Ren Fair, or even most recently at the retreat. Like, there were never any negative interactions with any of that stuff. And I thought I had a pretty damn good time across the 6+ months, or almost 9 months with some of y'all, prior to even some of those in-person interactions, and across all of those. So to have one thing, one night, result in some of the most negative messages I think I've received while I was live, and to then feel, I don't know, like I'm a huge... I again apologize if messaging a bunch of people individually about things would have been a better solution. Like, I can see from other people's perspectives how that could have been better. Or even just like a, hey, sorry if I got heated about things, if we were talking past each other. But I thought my Minecraft chat on my Discord with less than 1/10 of all the people who are even on my Discord in my gaming hub was a decent place to have that conversation, since over half of those people were either involved or were some of the people who'd reach out to me asking what happened. So to have another whole paragraph in all caps making it seem like I'm harassing makes me feel like you clearly just don't even see things from my perspective. You don't realize that I'm an hour and a half into this stream still talking about this because other people are asking me about it. Not because this is what I'd prefer to be doing an hour and a half into this fucking stream. Or on my last stream. Or to not be able to join during some of the stuff that's happened over the last 2 weeks or week and a half. Since 2 weeks ago, I was whitelisted and having a damn good time. Do you think this is how I'd prefer to be spending my stream time? I'm not trying to harass anyone. In fact, even on my last stream, like I mentioned at the beginning of this one, I tried to talk about this vaguely. And even in my message, or why I even read through the message I had with Sauce and another person yesterday, brought it up again because I don't know how to respond without exactly what I was worried about. Getting a whole paragraph of what I would consider, I don't know, I guess I got exactly what I was worried about, despite being told I should just tell the truth. You should just tell people the truth about what happened when they ask. That's all we can do. And if anybody feels like I've misrepresented the truth today, just like I've said before, like, I guess point out where, or if anybody feels like my chat messages or things I've done, or even through other things I think are completely absurd, like saying if I would consider what happened the night that this all started as chat spam, then I've been spamming other people's chats since too. Like, not only do I think I've never sent more than 30 messages in 20 minutes on anyone else's, streams or servers while they were live, but I can't imagine where many of those messages included anything that might be considered antagonistic, vaguely threatening, or which were exactly why I posted all of that before, to try to give people some perspective on how things looked from my side while I was live on my own server, asking for people to, or if people wanted to build a blaze farm. Like, this is when all of this started. I was talking about doing a build in the Nether since I'd been dying trying to build a blaze farm, and got sidetracked into semantics about a build that was happening on the Sauce server before it even launched. And then we spent a whole week on the Sauce server after it launched without issue, while building community, while even talking with multiple other people about doing collaborations or content, or doing things like trial runs and deep dark and even more Nether stuff. And then got slapped in the face literally this time last week, 7.5 days ago, with, apparently the things that happened 3 weeks ago are such an issue that I'm being delivered an ultimatum that says you shouldn't log in anymore. So I'm the asshole. I'm harassing. And again, you can ask me to release whatever you want, but I was told to even delete the entire conversation on Discord before the Sauce server launched, or before I thought this was all resolved. And I thought, again, that I've complied with everything I had been asked to do, since that was a demand that was placed and seemed contingent on me not having the ultimatum that has since been put in front. So I don't know what else to do, but I'm definitely not going to be logging in to play more Expanse or more Telltale or to have more fun tonight. I don't know. This just isn't fun anymore. And it also feels like a kick in the ass, punch in the gut to have, even Sauce, who I didn't have any direct issue with either, now saying they're spent with this, or that they want me, to back off, despite 1 week ago saying they understood the irony and saying I needed to resolve this with someone who doesn't want it resolved, or the person who's calling for the ultimatum. And even where they said they thought it was unfair. And yet I'm just supposed to say nothing about that, even when people ask. Because that's what's being asked of me right now. Even if you did nothing wrong over the last 3 weeks, and even if during that 3-week period you'd spoken with multiple people who said they saw things from your perspective, and even asked you to delete some of the things that I'm now being asked in my chat to put out there again, the tables have turned, and now you should just leave everything alone, But if people ask about it, be honest with them. Well, that's what I've done tonight. And we've all seen how well that's worked out too. So I don't know what to do. Like, this goes way beyond Minecraft, like I was saying before. Minecraft isn't the only game I've been playing with people together. I mean, fuck, I spent 4 months playing Pal World with one of the people who told me they saw things from my perspective and who asked me to delete things from Discord. We've played over half a dozen like other games or an assortment of other things, and had a pretty good time on all of those without issue. And honestly, even Minecraft, not just after being whitelisted or after the Sauce server launched without issue, but on my server for months without issue. So I'm being told 1 strike and you're out, yet I feel like I got pitched a fucking foul ball, which even the umpire acknowledged seemed a bit foul. And yet, without even getting a 1 strike, I've been told I'm out. Is that fair? Or when people ask me about some of that stuff, am I supposed to say, even after being told, just tell the truth? Like, that seems fair? Especially when I've issued multiple apologies about the entire situation or tried reaching out to resolve it. Even going so far as within the last 36 hours, like issuing an apology to every other person who was involved in some of that Discord conversation. To have even on this stream a whole nother all caps paragraph thing posted is exactly why I screenshot without editing the chat logs from before. And some of the pushback on that is that, well, other people were trying to rein things in, or that other people had tried to clarify the situation. But what I feel like I've been trying to resolve since the beginning of this month, just days after spending a large portion of what I thought was pretty good time, both online and IRL, with many of the individuals involved, is trying to clarify things with one person. So, if this stream is now construed as negative as well, I don't know. I don't know. They don't tell you when you start streaming, like, all the bullshit on the sidelines, and even outside of just the bots and the nonsense that you get messaged about. Like, I'm sure it's even worse for a lot of other people, especially those younger, more attractive, non-bald, with more attractive chests or just general features. I get people get spammed about all kinds of stuff, but I never expected this, like anything like this. Even if I had a larger disagreement, like would be where I am now from where I was like 3 weeks ago. Never. And I've had more messages asking about what's going on Discord than I've even had responses from those I've been messaging trying to resolve this stuff with. where again, we only even read through the last couple of messages in particular because I've been told in order to continue moving past some of this, which I've asked about, I should just tell the truth. And where I feel like that's why I'm in this situation. I've even been outright called out for like trying to prove I was right. I was just trying to show the truth of the situation as I saw it, unedited from my perspective. And that's what got me into this shit. And I was told to delete that again. So if people want me to repost any of this stuff, I can, but I was told not to. I was told to take it down. So, I don't know. Here, I guess as a closing thing, I'll just read my apology that I did send to people. As I was told to try to work this out, or where the last 6 messages before that, were not only literally all positive, but were about me, like playing Fortnite. I don't know how to hide them though. Fuck. Here, I can take a screenshot of it to show you I'm not editing it, I guess. We'll transition back away from the cat. Here's the last message I sent to 8 people. Fuck. Can I not center this? Oh my god. Fuck you, Windows. How about like this? Just open it up in Paint. That'll work. Perfect. This is the last message I sent to people. If I can post my own log here. I'm sorry to everyone here if I've ever made you feel uncomfortable or unsafe while playing on my server, Sauce's server, or anywhere else. I hope after almost a year of gaming together with most of y'all, hanging out in each other's streams for months, and spending a pretty significant amount of time together overall, hundreds of hours online, and with many of you IRL as well, that you know that has genuinely never been my true intention or the kind of person I want to be, online, IRL, or otherwise. It breaks my heart to hear not everyone may feel that way right now, but the best thing I can do to move forward is sincerely apologize, seek forgiveness, and hope we can continue having more fun together again soon. I've had no responses to that. The last responses I did have while talking about this separately, even up through yesterday, was that I should just be honest about the situation. And I only brought up some of that stuff, or said I feel exhausted about a lot of this too, because even yesterday and the day before that, I was still getting messages about what happened and whether I'd be continuing to play. And I haven't even really been logging into my own Minecraft server either, if I'm being honest, which is probably, fostering or continuing some of this, since a large portion of the people who I even sent that apology to were part of the Discord stuff, were part of that group because they had also been whitelisted and previously played on my server. So it's not a fucking shocker to have people asking about whether things have been resolved or what the fuck is going on, when I've only been talking about things fairly vaguely up through now. And I've only been doing that because I feel like I've been vilified for actually talking about the truth or the facts of the matter up until now. Or the last time I did is what led us to this. But this is yet another uncomfortable, horrible stream for me. So I think I'm just going to end it here. I'm not doing it to be dramatic or try to make anybody feel bad. But again, I hope people can put themselves in my shoes and realize This stuff sucks. It's no fun. Even having to like lie to some people about like whether I was going to be logging on and be like, oh no, I'm playing Detroit Become Human. Playing a single player game right now. Haven't gotten through that yet. You think that's fun? If the reason I'm doing that is because I'd learned like a day before that or 2 days before that last week that an ultimatum had been delivered by someone who doesn't want to engage in any conversation. It is calling for me to be banned. Oh, I don't know. I don't fucking know. But let's go say hi to Tay. There's somebody else we've engaged with. Hey, Caitlin. I'm glad after meeting you IRL, especially meeting you through Twitch and engaging with you over the last, 6-9 months, things have seemed okay. What's up, Carlos? You can watch the VOD. I will publish this VOD. I'll publish it immediately after. People can watch the whole damn thing if they think I've been a huge asshole or I don't know. Y'all tell me what you want to see from me in the future, I guess, at this point, because I don't know what to do. But please give lots of love to Tay. We did add some new emotes, which is super cool. But we'll talk about those later. If anyone wants to share the It's a Raid or is followed, please do. And as always, thank you for spending whatever time you have with me, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. I really appreciate it. And hope y'all have a good night.
Does homie, can I still buy seeds? Okay, do the arms for the pork. Ooh, I love Java Carrion. Hey, baby, what are you doing? Oh, my friend, and hello.